Good evening and welcome to the March 16th council meeting. If you'd please all stand, Councilman Flores is going to lead us in the flag salute.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our first presentation this evening is a very special one. It's for the 2020 Edwards Roads Community Service Award. In March 1998, the City Council established the Edwin Roads Community Service Award to recognize individuals for their contributions to the Chino community. Tonight, we will be inducting Lou Marino into the City of Chino's Hall of Fame as the 2020 Edwin Roads Community Service Award winner. This prestigious award, named in honor of Edwin Rhodes, one of the very first inductees into the Hall of Fame, is presented to persons living or working in the city of Chino who have been exemplars of ethical conduct, leadership, and service in a manner over and above any position that the person holds of which such conduct is expected. The award presented tonight will be on permanent display in the Chino Community Building with a copy, and a copy will be presented to the family. I would now like to call up Erin Marino Fox, who will be accepting this award on behalf of her father. Erin? Erin, would you like to call up additional family members and then introduce them? One. Yeah. Yes. Want to introduce them? No. Okay, why don't you introduce these two?
Okay. This is my husband, Daniel Fox, and one of my daughters, Ayana Fox.
I'd also like to invite the boxing board up, please, to also participate in this very special award. Now, Mr. Marino could not be with us this evening, but I understand he is watching from home. Okay. Mike, do you want to introduce the board?
Sure. I'm Mike Garcia, president of the board. This is Josie, member, Yolanda, member.
Okay. Okay. The award reads, Lou Marino was born and raised in the city of Chino. Service to the community helped shape Mr. Marino in his dedication to Chino's youth. The Chino Police Department hired Mr. Marino in July 1957, and his service to the city began. There were several gangs in the downtown area of Chino during this time. Detective Sergeant Marino and community member and amateur boxer, Mr. Bobby Cedillo, saw a disturbing trend of negative behavior by young boys in this area. The boys were motivated to join gangs because of the sense of belonging and identity they received. Mr. Marino and Mr. Cedillo wanted to provide them with an alternative to gang life. The Youth Boxing Club was established in the late 1960s as a place where youth could learn self-discipline and develop character. It was a place in the downtown area where they could feel safe, develop healthy peer and adult relationships, and thrive in school and in life. The difficulty was engaging youth with members of law enforcement. Over time, the boys who showed more interest in boxing and proving themselves in the ring rather than on the streets. Mr. Marino continued as the club's strongest advocate and most passionate supporter within the Chino Police Department. With little funds in the beginning and the boxing club relocated many times, including to the basement of the Chino Police Department, Redwood Street Arena, an old plumbing building on south side of Monte Vista Park, and a radiator shop on 6th Street. Due to the efforts of Mr. Marino, the Chino Police Department increased support for the program, helping to develop positive relationships between law enforcement and the young boxers. The rent on 6th Street was a major challenge, which led to the creation of a booster club to help meet operating expenses. This building became home to the boxing club for nearly 20 years. The boxing club received its nonprofit statute and articles of incorporation in 1980 as the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation. The Chino Boxing Club is now supported by the Chino Community Services Department, providing the boxing club with its permanent home at the Neighborhood Activity Center. Because of Mr. Marino's initial efforts, thousands of boys and girls have visited the Chino Boxing Club over the years, and many have stayed involved for long periods of time. Many professional boxers have participated in the program. Trainers involved with the Chino Boxing Club over the years included former champions in both the amateur and professional ranks, as well as former participants in the program. After 29 years with the Chino Police Department, Mr. Marino retired as captain in 1986. Mr. Marino also served 3 terms on the Chino Valley Unified School District Board of Education from December 1981 through December 1996. Mr. Moreno then transitioned into an active member of the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation as a board member and was vice president for many years. He was also the one voice heard at every boxing showcase hosted by the Boxing Foundation, introducing and announcing the winners while always providing words of encouragement throughout the bouts. The Chino Youth Boxing Foundation is stronger today than ever, with boys and girls coming to the Neighborhood Activity Center to train with former boxers who want to share the sport and make a difference in their lives. While gang diversion needs have declined over the decades, there is still a temptation for boys and girls to get involved in negative behavior. We're fortunate the Chino Boxing Club continues to provide an alternative. Mr. Moreno's vision to nurture the boys and now girls in the community with a sense of responsibility, good sportsmanship, honesty, loyalty, courage, and respect for others is alive and well in the Chino Boxing Club. The participants are stronger, both physically and emotionally, and grow into productive, caring community members, which is the success Mr. Moreno hoped to achieve. Mr. Moreno is married and has 4 daughters, 3 sons, 11 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. It's signed and dated today, March 16th, 2021. This will hang at the community building, and we also are presenting a copy to the family for you to keep. And would you like to say a few words?
While I'm not the speaker, my dad is, for sure. On behalf of my father, Lou Marino, I want to thank you all for this prestigious award. It has been his distinguished honor to serve the city of Chino in various capacities over the years. He has dedicated the majority of his life to this community that he sincerely loves. Thank you again for this incredible recognition tonight.
I wish he could have been here with us. Mike, would you like to say something on behalf of the boxing club?
First of all, thank you, Mayor, for this award that he receives today. This man is something else. Because of him, I'm here. And because of him, I'm president of the board. He deserves it. Thank you, Mayor.
I don't think, are any of the coaches out here? Are they tonight? Are any of the coaches? I don't see any. Are any of the coaches here this evening? No, apparently not. Well, please tell Lou thank you very much for all of his years spent serving the community. He affected a lot of kids' lives, many, many kids' lives. And I want to thank Mike also for always being a champion of Mr. Marino. You know, he was a very valuable participant in our community. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Oh, yeah, she wants to get a picture. Next, we have the March 2021 Business of the Month, which is Buffalo Power Sports Incorporated. With so many amazing business partners, it's not hard to understand why Chino leaders find it difficult to choose one company to award. This evening, we are very fortunate to applaud another City of Chino business that not only provides a great product, but gives back to the community. The City of Chino and I enjoy recognizing the many businesses in our city that not only choose to call Chino their home, but invest in the community by giving back. Chino's variety of businesses is just one of the many reasons it continues to be so successful, from million-square-foot buildings that provide goods to 600-foot cafes. This type of diversity creates a stable economy. The March 2021 Chino Business of the Month award winner is Buffalo Power Sports Incorporated, and they're represented by Caleb Dye, President, and Annie On, Office Manager. Buffalo Power Sports Incorporated. I'm going to take this down. Gosh. Buffalo Power Sports Incorporated has been operating in Chino since 2019, but has a global business network integrating research and development, manufacturing, sales, and service of kids' Power Wheel toys and electric-powered sports products. During the COVID-19 shutdown, Buffalo Power Sports took the initiative to reach out to the City of Chino to provide our staff and first responders with hand sanitizer when these items were in short supply. Buffalo Power Sports has built relationships with other local importers and manufacturers to purchase and sell products and share information and resources, even partnering with other companies in various aspects of logistics for product import and export. Chino's friendly business environment, convenient warehousing and logistics, and quality labor force continue to reaffirm Buffalo Motorsports' choice for the community. On behalf of myself and the City of Chino, I thank you for being a partner with the city and the community. Please join me in congratulating Buffalo Power Sports Incorporated as our March 2021 Business of the Month recipient. And I'd like you to please accept this plaque as a symbol of our appreciation. And I thank you so very much for being part of our community. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I really, whatever. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Annie. Okay. Next, we have another really fun presentation, and that's the introduction of the Chino Valley Fire District new hire firefighters and paramedics. I'd like to call up Deputy Chief Dave Williams, who's going to introduce the new hires.
Mayor, council, staff, members of the public, I'm very, very pleased tonight to introduce you to your fire district firefighters. And to get started, we'll go ahead and bring up Joshua Baldwin. He come to us with 11 years of Cal Fire service. He's married with 2 children. Next, Fernando Cardona comes to us with 17 years of fire service experience from Corona, married with 2 children. Next, we have Frank Flores. Frank comes to us with 3 years with the Barstow Fire Department and not married, so he enjoys surfing and golfing. We'll bring up Jacob Feenstra. Comes to us with 12 years of experience with Loma Linda Fire Department, married with 3 children. Caleb Gwynn, one of our local residents out of Chino Hills, comes to us with 3 years of experience. He's married with first child on his way. Next, we have Brian Kalusik. Come on up, Brian. Brian comes to us with 4.5 years with the Colton Fire Department. He's married with 1 child. Kristen Naboa comes to us from just north of here, 5 years with the Montclair Fire Department, and Kristen is married as well. Next, we have Marcus Phillips, comes to us with 3 years with AMR. He enjoys CrossFit, podcasts, and cooking. So there's a theme here. If you're not married, then you get to, but yeah, we'll put out your, yeah. Next, we have Mr. Stephen Sands, comes to us with 11 years with the Colton Fire Department. He's married with 5 children. And we have Kenneth Skinner. Kenneth comes to us with 3 years with the Cathedral City Fire Department, and he's engaged to be married. So we'd like to take this time and let you welcome our newest firefighters, and we're happy to have them.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if you're going to say any words,
Yeah.
or-
I'd like to welcome you to the Chino community. I think you're going to find the relationship here, especially with our police department, very unique, and I hope you'll really enjoy your time with us. But I do think it's interesting that the only people with hobbies are the ones that are not married. So you guys that are married, don't give up on your hobbies. Thank you for being with us this evening. Thanks, Dave. Thank you. That was nice. Okay, in our packet this evening is the Economic Development Report for February 2021. It has some very valuable information in it. I encourage you all to read it. Okay, do we have any additions or revisions to our agenda this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I have 2 changes. First is the mid-year review. It was placed under public hearing. I asked that we move that under new business. So the only public hearing is really the zoning code changes and amendments.
Okay.
And then the second item is I'd request that item number 10 be pulled. That's related to 16th, 17th, and 18th Streets.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Under public announcements. First, I would like to highlight our Arbor Day Proclamation listed under the consent calendar. Although this is a component of the city's operation that can go overlooked, the City of Chino's effort to maintain and plant a wide variety of new trees has profound impacts on our community. For starters, maintaining our vast array of city streets is a challenging undertaking that ensures the safety of our residents, particularly during inclement weather. Likewise, for new developments, being thoughtful in our landscape design process and tree selections ensures that we can add value to our community and continue to take pride in our outstanding city. Therefore, on behalf of the council, we'll be designating April 2nd, 2021 as Arbor Day in the city of Chino. Additionally, please mark your calendars for this Saturday's MLB Pitch, Hit, and Run event at Ayala Park from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Here, participants from 7 to 14 years of age can show off their skills and could potentially compete in the national finals at the 2021 MLB All-Star Game in Atlanta, Georgia. For all information, please call the Neighborhood Activity Center at 909-334-3260. And finally, we sadly will be adjourning tonight's meeting in memory of Al McCombs and Ray Santoyo. In the beginning with Al McCombs, it goes without saying that Al McCombs was a fixture in the Chino community. He was the owner of our very own Chino Champion from 1956 to 2017, where he dutifully informed all Chino residents of the comings and goings and the issues concerning our community. A graduate of Stanford and Harvard, Al McCombs always wrote with an intelligent and thoughtful perspective that encouraged all of us to better serve our community. Al was the 2013 Spirit of Achievement Award recipient, and his contributions to the entire Chino Valley are certainly invaluable. Moreover, his leadership at the Chino Champion made it into a community staple that it is today. Al will be missed by our entire community, and our prayers go out to his family during this difficult time. Also, sadly, retired Chino Valley fire engineer Ray Santoyo passed away on March 8th after his brave, long battle with cancer. A Chino High graduate in 1980, Ray served the Chino Valley Fire Department for 32 years. It was the only department and community he had ever served. During this time, beyond being a fire engineer, Ray also served with the Urban Search and Rescue Team and Honor Guard. Likewise, Ray was also a member of the Chino Valley Historical Society. Hence, it goes without saying that Ray selflessly committed his life to serving his community. He will be missed, and our prayers go out to his family during this difficult time. Next on our agenda is public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the council on issues that do not appear elsewhere. First, I would like to call up Mr. Michael Tafoyo from the Living Word Assembly Church. He's going to lead us in a prayer. All those who would like to participate, please stand.
Amen. Let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight asking for your guidance, your wisdom, your support as we begin this meeting. Help the council to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow the council to grow closer as a group and to nurture the bonds of this community. Let the spirit of unity prevail in this meeting, and it's in Jesus Christ's name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Michael. Next written request to speak I have is, let's see, that side. I'm gonna bring it back in. Stubby Bar.
Is that the beginning, Jack?
Pardon me?
No. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Welcome again. Now it's evening, I guess. I have a little presentation for you this evening. I'd like to run through with an issue that we're having here in Chino, and I'm going to have to go lightning fast. Is that better? Because we only have 5 minutes. So the subject is crosswalks. So we all know what crosswalks are. It's the part of the road that is used by pedestrians where they have the right of way and help. Here we go. Where the vehicles, of course, must yield. Now, the same laws that require the vehicles to yield are also tell us exactly where the crosswalks are located. So that's Vehicle Code, Section 275. Crosswalk is one of two things. It's either A or B. We'll look at B first. Any portion of the roadway that is distinctively marked or lined for pedestrians. A marked crosswalk. We all know what this is. We stop, we yield. It can also occur, well, this is really slow. Sorry. It can also occur at intersections, and it can also be marked with alternate markings like these high visibility markings. 97% of the intersections you go through will not have marked crosswalks, but they still have crosswalks. And if we go back to the Vehicle Code section, we see that Section A, crosswalks are in that portion of the roadway that is included within the prolongation or within the connection of the boundary lines of the sidewalks. This occurs at any intersection. So this is an intersection. You extend the edges of the sidewalk across the street, and that is the location where the crosswalks exist. This is a bird's eye view of it. It is the same view you have when you pull up to an intersection in your car. There are no lines through the intersection, but you know that you have to go straight ahead. The crosswalk and the sidewalk are the lane for pedestrian traffic. So the intersection we looked at earlier has 3 unmarked crosswalks. They're not visible, but you know that they line up with the sidewalks, and you have to yield by law. The law also requires that these crosswalks be made accessible to everyone, so everyone can use them. So when we build or when we alter, we are required to install curb ramps. The curb ramps must be located completely within the width of the crosswalk so that it looks like this. This is a Chino crosswalk. The yellow lines represent the connection of the 2 sidewalks, and the curb ramps are in the crosswalk, as is this one. Unfortunately, these samples are not the rule, they are the exception. Most of our crosswalks that are being built are like this. The crosswalk exists, but there are no curb ramps. Here you have one curb ramp and not the other. Here you have a curb ramp that's located 25 feet away from where the crosswalk is located, around the corner. Here's one that's 30 feet away. Here's one that is located in the middle of the roadway of the street that dead ends at this T intersection. When these curb ramps are located like this, away from the crosswalk itself, they do not create another crosswalk. There is no C paragraph in that section of the vehicle code. So pedestrians are forced to jaywalk in that red area where they do not have the protection of the vehicle code right of way. If they get hit, it's their fault. The car has the right of way. Simultaneously, the crosswalk still exists, but it's unusable and illegal because it does not have curb ramps. So if we go back and look at this intersection that had the 25-foot offset, from the air, this is what it looks like. The yellow lines represent where the legally established crosswalks are. The red lines represent where the engineers decided to put the curb ramps and where the pedestrian is forced to jaywalk. Now, it doesn't look like it's that difficult. However, if we look at this same situation from the viewpoint of a driver of a vehicle, same road, engineers come in and they build this concrete barrier, a K-rail, 3-foot high curb, right down the middle of the street. 150 feet in both directions would be proportionate to the width of the sidewalk. So you come up and you want to cross the street, right? But you can't because there's this concrete barrier in your way. So what do? You have no choice. You have to turn right, drive down 150 feet. Now you got to hook a U-turn around the end of the K-rail, but you don't have the right of way. So you got to wait till it's clear. When you make the U-turn, now you have to drive back 150 feet and make a right-hand turn. All of this just to cross the intersection. This is what we are making our pedestrians do all the time in Chino. It's illegal, and the only way it can be justified under the law, the vehicle code once again, is if it's safer or if it's more convenient. Thank you.
Thank you, Stubby.
Thank you.
Okay, those are the only written requests I have to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Angela, do we have anyone who is wanting to speak during public communications
Mayor, we
online? No. Also, I failed to mention, roll call, are all members present?
Yes, Mayor, all members are present, and Councilmember Hargrove is participating via the webinar.
Okay, terrific. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. Item number 10, as noted by staff, has been pulled and sent back to staff. Item number 11 has requested to be pulled by Mr. Stubby Barr. Any council members wish to have any other items pulled? Any members of the audience wish to have any consent calendar items pulled? Okay, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion for the balance of the consent calendar, obviously minus 10 and 11.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, there's a motion from Councilman Lucio
I'll second the motion.
and second from Councilman Flores. Please vote by roll call. Angela?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Lucio,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Comstock,
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove, okay. Mayor Uloa,
Yes.
okay, Councilmember Hargrove. Okay, This is my,
We may have lost contact.
okay.
Well, I will note that the item passes 4-1 with one possibly being absent. Item number 11 is the acceptance of project completion Philadelphia Street Rehab, ST 171. Stubby, you wanted to make comments?
Thank you again. This project is being brought to you for acceptance. I took a chance to survey it. They've been working on it for quite some time, about a year now. It is not ready. I did a preliminary survey there this afternoon on 3 of the intersections. One of them is missing a curb ramp. 2 of them are missing crosswalks, similar to the presentation that I gave you earlier. And there are technical issues with some of the transitions that have been built with the landings. And one of the curb ramps actually exceeds the absolute maximum. So this is a unique project. We aren't actually doing it. We contracted it out with the county, but Government Code 4453 makes you, the governing board, responsible for enforcing accessibility laws wherever Chino's funds are spent. So this falls under, I think we need to make the county go back one more time and fix their mistakes. Thank you.
I'd like to ask for staff comment.
Mayor and council members, this project, we are, the county is the lead in this project. We're funding portion of the project that are within the city. All of the portions that are within the city were designed and approved by the city of Chino. We had conversation with the city, with the county, and they did not choose to design our portions. We designed them. Those were inspected by our inspectors. We had a walkthrough with all of the issues that were there. Those are all resolved. So as far as I know, there aren't any issues outstanding that the county needs to fix. If there are other issues, I'm more than willing to meet with Mr. Barr. And if we have to fix them, they will be on us. They will not be on the county. County has done their work. They've already filed notice of completion. And all we're doing is making the payment that we agreed to make them when this work is done. So we can approve the report, and if there are issues, we're more than willing to take a look at them and resolve them.
The problems that Mr. Barr has mentioned, were they county portions that there are problems with, or were they our city sections that there's problems with?
But I'm not aware of any problems. So the inspectors have inspected all the ramps, and they meet the minimum or maximum slopes, and they are built per design. So I'm not aware of any issues that are there now. And I drove it this afternoon, and it seems fine. There are some issues with some debris in one of the ramps, but that's because of the recent rains and some maintenance issues that we're aware of. But other than that, there aren't any issues that I can identify. So there isn't anything that if Mr. Barr has seen some issues, we'll be able to address them. The portion that is within our city, we paid for it, and we'll have to fix it. If that portion was not done right, then we can go back to the county and say, hey, this was not done right. But as far as the information that I have so far, it's all done right. It's all done according to the plans. And it was approved by our project managers and inspectors. It was signed off by them. So there isn't anything county can come back and say, well, we didn't do this one right.
Okay, so this is actually to release the payment to the county.
That is correct.
Okay, and if I direct you to meet with Mr. Barr after this meeting and go over his issues, you can do that and bring us back your conclusion?
Definitely will do that.
Okay, then please do. All right, I would ask then for a motion and a second on item number 11.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion from Councilman Flores,
I'll second.
second from Councilman Lucio. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucio,
Yes.
Councilmember Comstock,
No.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes.
Mayor Ulloa.
Yes. Okay, the item passes 4 yes, 1 no. Next item on the agenda is public hearings. We are skipping number 15. That's being moved to new business. Item number 16, introduction of ordinance numbers 2021-001 and 2021-002, proposed amendment to the Title 20 zoning of the Chino Municipal Code. I'd like to ask for a staff report from Mr. Warren Morleone, our city planner. But prior to doing that, I would like to declare the public hearing open. Warren?
Good afternoon, or good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This next item before you this evening is a request to modify several chapters of the city's zoning code. The most notable change includes a complete repeal and replacement of Chapter 2022, which is the telecommunications chapter, to comply with FCC regulations that significantly limit both state and local regulation of wireless facilities. Other changes include clarifying the location and number of accessory dwelling units allowed per lot, consistent with state law, adding standards to allow temporary parking of delivery vans to address such companies as Amazon, who use outside vendors for delivery services, modifying the number of chickens allowed in the RD1 and RD2 zoning districts as it relates to different lot sizes, and adjusting the review process for both one-story additions and other small additions in the city's residential, commercial, and industrial zoning districts. This allows for a more streamlined review process for the smaller projects. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the zoning code changes on March 1st. With that, staff recommends that the council adopt ordinance number 2021-001 and 002, incorporating the changes. That concludes my presentation. I do want to point out the city attorney's here to help answer technical questions related to the telecommunication ordinance. So with that, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Warren. Do any council members have questions of staff? Councilman Hargrove, do you have any questions? Hearing none. Do any members of the public have any questions? Okay, seeing none, then I will close the public hearing and call for a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Councilman Lucio,
I'll make the second, Mayor.
second from Councilman, God, I just went blank, Karen, Comstock.
And
Okay, and I'd like to ask, I know, Fred, I got it. I'd like to ask our attorney to please read the ordinance by number and title only.
I should have known you wouldn't forget me. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council and audience. The council has before it two ordinances, and I will read them by title only, and there's a waiver of further reading of the ordinance. Beginning with ordinance number 2021-001, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending selected provisions of the zoning code, Title 20 of the Municipal Code of the City of Chino, PL 20-0045, Zone Ordinance Amendment. And ordinance number 2021-002, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 20.22 of the Chino Zoning Code regarding the regulation of wireless telecommunications facilities on private property. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Angela, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucio,
Yes.
Councilmember Comstock,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes.
Mayor Ulloa.
Yes. Okay, the item passes unanimously. Next, under public hearings, we go back to item number 15, fiscal year 2021 mid-year financial review. Receive and file a financial review status report and consider amendments to adopted budget appropriations when expected revenues, and consider contract amendments and purchase order increases. Our staff report this evening will be provided by our Director of Finance, Mr. Rob Burns.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Tonight, I bring before you the 2020-21 mid-year financial review. This year's financial review covers all of our funds. We looked at the revenues and expenditures of every fund. We are going to focus a little bit on the general fund tonight, but we did look at every fund, and the recommendations in the staff report are for the analysis that we've done. So COVID has actually been a big part of the last year in all of our lives, and financially is no different. So we just want to take a look at how COVID has impacted our revenues and what we had thought was going to happen and kind of what has happened. So if we look back at last year briefly, get my mouse. When we adopted the budget, we looked at how it was going to impact our 19-20 revenues. Because if you recall, the COVID shut everything down in March. And so it was a pretty heavy shutdown, so we weren't sure how things were going to impact our revenues. So we adopted in our budget a $5.6 basically $million deduction in our revenues. We ended the year, then again, this was last fiscal year, we ended the year at $3 million short. So we did better than we thought we were going to do. If we look at the different components that were going to be impacted by COVID, sales tax we were projecting was going to be a big one. We projected a hit of $3.8 million. We came in just under $3 million for the sales tax revenue. Development, we projected a $1.1 million loss of revenue, but as you all know, the housing market has done tremendously well during COVID. So instead of a decrease, we actually saw a slight increase in our revenues for development revenues. Our hotel tax or transit occupancy tax, we thought was going to go down $77,000. That went down $63,000, so about what we thought. Property transfer tax, again, that's based on real estate activity. So we thought that was going to drop, but that didn't. It actually came in $55,000 over budget. And then police revenues, we thought was going to go down $84,000 and went down about $87,000 because the police weren't really engaging the public during those 2 months, so that happened. Also, gas tax, that's taxes that are paid at the pump. And so we thought that was going to be just under $400,000, but we were pleasantly surprised that we only lost about $200,000 on that. And then finally, Measure I, that's a half-cent sales tax that's charged on all sales tax transactions. So even though, so we thought that was going to go down $150,000. Even though our sales tax in the city did go down, county-wide sales tax was actually up. So we actually saw an increase in our Measure I revenue last year. So we did fairly well. We only lost $3 million, so that's better than we were hoping. If we look at this year, we adopted a budget with $3.1 million of revenue projection loss. But pleasantly, we're going to experience about a $1.4 million increase in those revenues. I'm just talking about the revenues that we thought were going to be COVID impacted. So here, the blue line or the blue bar is kind of what we thought was going to happen before COVID, because we had developed these numbers and COVID hit in beginning of March. As we developed the budget, then we made adjustments. So we adopted the purple bar. So we thought it was going to be about $29 million. We adopted a budget of $27 million, but we're going to end the year with sales tax of about $31 million, $31.5 million. It should be noted that yellow piece on the top is one-time sales tax revenue. So we received 2 large payments from 2 different entities during this year, but they won't continue. So the green portion is what we would anticipate is going to continue on, not the yellow piece. Then for development revenue, again, we previously were planning on adopting this amount. We adopted $10.8 million, and we're going to come in about $200,000 over what we had adopted. So that's good. Again, the housing market has remained strong during COVID. For our hotel tax, we were looking here at about a $50,000 or $40,000 loss, and we're going to experience even a greater loss than that because of the extent of the COVID. So that seems consistent. Again, the property transfer tax, that portion's remained strong in the housing market. So even though we adopted this purple budget, we're going to receive about $540,000. And then for police revenues, we actually didn't think police revenues were going to drop because we figured this would all be over and the activity would be back to normal. And it pretty much has been. We're just looking at about a $70,000 drop for this current fiscal year for that revenue source. Again, if we go back to gas tax, that has been an extended thing with COVID, so we're experiencing just a little bit less than we had anticipated. But on the flip side, the Measure I, which again is the county-wide sales tax, we're expecting that to be up significantly. And these 2 revenue sources impact the general fund in that we use those to cover expenditures, and whatever we can't cover, the general fund then pays for. So the more revenue we get in these, the less the general fund has to contribute. So overall, for our general fund revenues, originally we were looking at about an $89 million revenue. We adopted a budget at $86 million, and it looks like this year, sorry, I don't have the total there. It was 91 million. But again, this purple piece is the one-time sales tax, and then this green piece is the CARES Act money that we received. So that's bumping up our total revenues a little bit for this year. So you can see we're going to receive more than we had even originally budgeted. So that's just our COVID impacted revenues. In order to try to alleviate, any what we thought was potential loss of revenue, the city manager implemented this year a hiring freeze. And there were about 13 positions that ended up being frozen. But now that revenues are, seem to be pretty good for this year, city manager is recommending that we start hiring again those vacated positions. Now that was going to be a $600,000. We did save $600,000 during this fiscal year for freezing those positions. It would have been $1.2 million if those positions had been vacated the whole year. So just in an effort to try to make sure we save money with the revenue losses, that was implemented. We're looking at the new stimulus money coming in. We got notified that we're supposed to receive $14 million. We're still working on how we're going to receive that, what the requirements are, and so we're still kind of monitoring that. As far as expenditure adjustments, in your report is a complete list of adjustments. I'm just going to mention a couple here. We have $600,000 that we're requesting for waste management. That's for additional landfill and green waste costs. We're also looking at $414,000 for additional water costs. And we're looking at $288,000 additional for unemployment insurance, and that's directly COVID related. There is one typo in the staff report that I'd like to mention. We asked for $8,000 under heritage design and build, but that should be $80,000. It's not an appropriation, it's just a contract amendment. So we're asking that that be adjusted in the report. So that basically concludes my report. We're looking at our revenues being $4.8 million more than we had anticipated. So that should cover the $4.2 million deficit that we adopted for this fiscal year. So that concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Well, that's phenomenally good news. We're very lucky. Any council members have questions or comments?
No, the only comment I have is I remember when we sat down last year and we started looking at what we could do to make sure that we stayed within our budget and some of the things that we implemented. I'm glad that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to be able to hire some people back and fill our positions that are vacant. So hats off to you and to Matt for coming up with a strategy and a strategy that obviously worked.
Great job by the staff. Thanks. Thanks not just for your report, Rob, but to the city manager and the staff. Thank you very much.
Pretty good guesstimates,
Yeah,
I would say.
we were pretty close, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad we're going to lose that one-time money, though. Darn.
Yeah, we have to deal with that in the upcoming budget. So.
True. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the council on item number 15? Angela, do we have any written comments come in?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Okay, then I would like to call for a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion.
Councilman Lucio makes a motion.
I'll make the second, Mayor.
Councilman, why do I want to call you Hargrove? Comstock makes the second. Roll call vote, please. He's on my mind.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucio,
Yes.
Councilmember Comstock,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove,
Yes.
Mayor Ulloa.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Item number 17, award of contract, Ayala Skate Park Renovations Project, IB 218. Award of contract in the amount of $139,000 to California Skate Parks, Upland, California, for the Ayala Skate Park Renovations Project. Staff report this evening will be provided by our Assistant Project Coordinator, Mr. Keith Martinez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. It's good to be back up here. Glad to see council is doing well and looking sharp, I might add.
Thank you.
The adopted fiscal year 2020-21 budget includes funding for the Ayala Skate Park renovations project. In 2019, staff inspected the skate park for any deficiencies that may hinder a safe and enjoyable experience. Staff noted and documented the locations of these deficiencies directly influenced by the age of the facility, continued heavy use by the public, and consistent exposure to the elements. This project includes removing and replacing the existing damaged pool coping and pool tile, removing and replacing damaged sections of square metal tubing for the ledges, as well as installing additional square metal tubing for safety, joint and crack repair, and the installation and addition of 2 new skate features, a flat rail and a step-up that were suggested by the public through an online survey and webinar hosted by the city and the consultant, New Line Skate Parks, on November 10th, 2020. Staff prepared the project's plan specifications, and the project was then advertised for bids, with notice inviting bids being published in the Chino Champion, in several regional trade publications, and on the Planet Bids website on February 9th, 2021. On March 2nd, 2021, 2 proposals were received electronically via Planet Bids from highly qualified contractors with specific experience related to this project. The lowest bid was submitted by California Skate Parks in Upland, California, in the amount of $139,000. Staff has verified the contractor's references and licensing for the project and determined them to be a responsible bidder. Coincidentally, California Skate Parks assisted in the original build of the skate park back in 2003. The fiscal year 2020-21 budget is $179,000. To date, $19,499.10 has been spent on this project for the plans and specifications completed by the consultant, New Line Skate Parks, along with the city's contracting a security company to provide security to the site throughout the duration of the project. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation the City Council award a contract to California Skate Parks in the amount of $139,000 and authorize an additional $13,900 in project contingencies for a total contract amount not to exceed $152,900. This concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Keith. Will the skate park be completely closed during this renovation?
Yes.
Okay, and are there notices at the skate park telling the public that it's closed?
Yes, we are working on the notices for it to be placed outside of the actual skate park and then also on our website.
Oh, good. Good deal. Any questions of Keith?
How long will it take, Keith?
They're estimating 6 to 8 weeks, provided we don't have any rain delays or any setbacks. That's why we are hiring the security company, because sometimes the skaters don't want to not listen, and we don't want them to disturb the progress that we're having and having to go back and repeat the repairs.
Thank you.
We need to get it done as quickly as possible, because I know a lot of kids use that skate park.
Yes.
Are there any comments from the audience? Yes, Stubby?
I just have a quick question for Keith. What was the 10 cents for?
They're really crucial on their dollar amount.
These things drive me crazy. Any public comments online, Angela? Okay, then I would entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Comstock makes the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Second from Councilman Flores. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Comstock?
Yes.
Councilmember Flores?
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove? Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Lucio?
Yes.
Mary Loa?
Yes, item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. The first item under mine is item number 18. I'm asking for the reappointment of Community Services Commissioner Brenda Strong. I'd like to ask for a motion in a second to ratify her reappointment. She's shaking her head no. You can't get out of this, Brenda.
I'd be honored to make that motion, Mayor.
Okay, motion from Councilmember Comstock.
I'll second.
And second from Councilmember Lucio. Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, I'm sorry. Roll call vote, please, Angela.
Councilmember Comstock?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucio?
Yes.
Councilmember Flores?
Yes.
Councilmember Hargrove? Mayor Ulloa?
Yes. Item passes unanimously, 4 with 1 absent. Okay, the rest, since our last council meeting, all of these were attended virtually, of course. Omnitrans and Sandbag, or SBCTA Board of Directors, and the City Select Committee. Also, we filmed, this was on the 3rd, we also filmed another mayor's message, and then listened to the county's COVID update that afternoon. On the 4th, I attended the WFA TAC meeting, the Chino de Saltra Authority Board of Directors, and the Inland Empire Utility Agency's Sewage Policy Committee. On the 9th, on the 10th, listened to the COVID update from the county. On the 11th was the Water Facilities Authority Finance Committee meeting, the Appropriate Pool Confidential Session, which is Water Master, the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Metro Valley Committee meeting, and then last night at 6 o'clock, we did a drive-by birthday salute to Councilman Hargrove, who is a young 57 years old, and it was really fun. It was fun to see everybody come out and congratulate him on his birthday. And then today, of course, at 4 o'clock, we had our workshop with our housing element. That concludes my report. Mayor Pro Tem Lucio.
Yes, I too attended virtually the Chino Valley Fire Department Board meeting on the 10th. I also attended the birthday drive-by for Councilman Hargrove yesterday. I just wanted to, if he's still on the line, just wish him a happy birthday. We both ran together, so, you know, I consider him a good friend, so. This morning, I also participated in the blood drive at the Chino Community Center. They're really stressing that there's a blood shortage, so if you donate blood, especially O-positive blood, they really would like that, if you could give. Also this afternoon, we attended the Housing Element Workshop, and I just want to end with wishing my son, Lucas, is his first birthday, so I just want to wish him a happy birthday.
And you don't have any hobbies either, right?
Not currently.
Married with children. Councilmember Comstock.
Thank you, Mayor. I watched the March 4th Chino School Board meeting. I wasn't able to watch it that night, but I later watched it. It was a good review of their LCAP, which is called their Local Control and Accountability Plan. They provided an update to Goal 1 of the LCAP, and just a lot of positive praise for kids getting back to school and excited to get back to K through 6. So they still have a lot of work ahead of them, but as you know, a lot of kids are happy to be back in school. So that was informative. On March 10th, I virtually met with Assemblyman Rodriguez just to touch base on my new position, and we talked briefly about just some state legislation that may be coming down the pike for our way, but just, you know, to reintroduce myself to the Assemblyman. You know, in my previous career, I had a good working relationship with both of them. I'd like to keep it that way. We certainly need their help in some of the things that are coming our way. I did ask them to send a representative to our housing element meeting today. I was a little disappointed to see that, you know, no representatives were there, but they are in session, so hopefully we'll attend future sessions. On March 10th, I attended the welcome and swearing in ceremony at the Chino Police Department. That was a great day. They hadn't had a ceremony in quite some time because of the pandemic, so it was great to see all those new hires joining our team here in Chino and some of the promotions that were there. And then on March 15th, I met with Zeb Wolborn from the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We discussed ideas about the chamber partnering perhaps with local events here in the future as we begin to reopen, just to get the spotlight back on some local businesses, particularly in restaurants. I think we're all pretty excited about going live with a few things, particularly like the corn feed run and a few other things that are coming our way. On March 12th, I met with the city manager to visit, to conduct a couple site visits on Yorba Avenue, which I mentioned in the housing element meeting earlier, about parking and just some quality of life issues from a couple of residents that live on Yorba Avenue, south of Riverside Drive, and then north of Riverside Drive as well. I think the city manager and I are both a little surprised at some of the things we saw up there, but I'm sure staff will get that taken care of for us with some help from the property managers. We also drove about some of the areas of the preserve and just looked at some of the progress that's coming down there. So that was, you know, thank you, Matt, for helping to update me with some of the continuing capital improvement and infrastructure projects we have going on down there. Again, I was with everybody today at the housing element workshop. I thought that was a good workshop for us and the public, you know, and another good step in the right direction. It was nice to see Mark Hargrove yesterday at his drive-by celebration. That was a super cool event. Very happy for Lou Marino and his Edwin Rose award tonight. It's very, very well deserved. In fact, you know, Captain Marino, it was nice to see retired Lieutenant Dubois here as well from Chino PD. And then just in closing, my sympathy to the McCombs family. I worked with Al McCombs' son, Bill McCombs, for many years at the police department. He was a great role model or mentor to me. And of course, I've always been very, very close to Raymond and Sally Santoyo, so my prayers with both of those families at this time. So that's it. I would just like the city manager to have somebody from staff provide an update on the closure of Bickmore for us before we close tonight. And that concludes my report, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Councilmember Flores.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see, on March 6th, I attended the Dairy Air 5K and Run Walk. That was a pretty fun event. I got to tell you, my numbers are a lot better during this 5K than, the 5K I have with the police department, so that was pretty exciting. On March 10th, I attended the welcome and swearing-in ceremony at the police department as well. That was my first experience. I thought I had, it was awesome. It was a great experience, so thank you to the police department for putting that on for us. On March 15th, I attended the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce Board meeting, and which was yesterday. And yesterday, I also attended the birthday drive-by for Mark Hargrove. And with that being said, I just kind of want to end by saying, my prayers and condolences to the McCombs family. I had a chance to meet them twice during my campaign run. I thought that was pretty awesome. So I feel, fortunate that I at least had, a sit-down lunch with him a couple times. And but again, my prayers and condolences to the McCombs family. That concludes my reports, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Hargrove.
Well, Mayor, I first off want to thank everyone for coming by yesterday. It was great. Secondly, condolences to Ray's family and Al's family. Such great people. And then that's all I attended. So that'll in my report.
Thank you very much, Mark, and happy birthday again.
Thanks.
Mr. Ballantyne, anything this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I have two items. One is just to remind folks that we are holding office hours down in the Preserve on April 1st. That's Thursday, and we're not fooling around, pardon the pun. So those that have inquiries about the Preserve, we encourage you to come out, and we'll be meeting at there at Cal or the community center there. So please join us. Also, as Councilmember Comstock mentioned, she'd like an update on the improvements down at the Preserve, specifically Bickmore. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Chris McDosku, our city engineer.
To address Bickmore, Bickmore will open in approximately 30 days. They had unforeseen circumstances in the field, state water main that was not there on the plans. Therefore, it took about a month to get re-permitted at Caltrans to move a signal. That has a trickle-down effect. We're working hard to try to overcome that. But that does not affect the Kimball hard closure, which is still in June. So kind of as alluded to also in the mayor's message, I think there was some inquiries that came in from the public on lane closure versus road closure versus full closure. We're going to hopefully clean that up on their website and be a little more descriptive of what that really means, because the Kimball work still has to continue to keep the in and out project on track as well. So we're working with them on some revitalized scheduling or alternative work hours to lessen the impact, which also lessens the impact on you and the public. But Bickmore, mid-April.
That's good news.
It is good news. Thanks, Chris. As you know, they're patiently waiting down there. So, I think, like you said, the more the issue was just all the full hard road closures at once, and the problem with the choke points in circulation down there. The mayor did a great job on her address, but with just some of the closures, I think people were concerned down there. So that's a good update. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and Merrill's fully closed, on track. They had lost a couple of weeks because of an Ontario problem. But as I mentioned back in September, you cross your fingers on all the staggered closings, so we'll work hard to maintain that. I do know that the Bickmore work, if the signal was city's right-of-way, Mr. Rawls, our transportation manager, would have been out there, and we would have actually had this thing going. So one of the joys of the Caltrans. But we're working hard. I'm worn out. I went out earlier in the week. I'm going to go out this week and just get the boots on the field. You got to make your presence known to let them know. Hurry up, let's go. So,
True.
And the weather didn't help, but thank you for bringing that to our attention tonight for the public as well.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks
You're
for going
welcome.
out there and working with Caltrans to get it done. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Matt?
Well, two things, if I may. Today's my son Luke's birthday as well, so I want to recognize him. Then finally, certainly the loss of Al McCombs is huge for the Chino Valley. He certainly has contributed a lot. Also, Ray was a huge impact with my family. He helped my son with his Eagle Scout project, and while he was battling cancer and my son was away in college in Michigan, he called him during the huge windstorms and told my son that his flagpole is still up.
Oh.
But we're gonna miss Ray.
Yeah, Ray was really a good guy. They were both very, very good people.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney Galante.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to say I will keep this council updated on any developments in both the legislative front to address the RENA problems that we talked about at our workshop, as well as any litigation opportunities.
Yeah, I think we're really serious about that. We really need to stand up against what the state's doing, because it just, it's going to cause our community a lot of problems, a
I
lot of
understand.
headaches.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Chief Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Like to thank the city manager for releasing his hiring freeze as we move forward and share with the community that we're going to have numerous professional staff positions opening up here shortly, and we encourage them to come and apply for those, including police service officer, records technician, and clerk typist. So looking forward to getting those positions filled, which allows us to better serve our community.
Great.
And in addition to that, on April 6th, we're going to be hosting a new recruitment drive for police explorers as well. So if you know young people between the ages of 14 and 18, it's a great program for them. Get a taste of law enforcement and see if that's a career choice. You don't have to be interested in being a police officer to be a police explorer, but it's a great opportunity for our young people. And then finally, we posted on our social media today and on the city website our annual report for 2020. So encourage the public to go ahead and take a look at that, and then I have hard copies here for you guys. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. And who do we have here from the fire department?
Wes, Chief, I just have one. I noticed that you guys put up the signs, no parking on Euclid, and I believe it was working for a while, but I noticed last week that some of those trucks were actually starting to park back on there again. I was just hoping if you can get somebody to.
We'll take a look at it, absolutely.
I appreciate it, thank you.
No problem.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Nathan Cook from the Fire District. Thanks so much for recognizing Ray and the Santoya family. And, it's a big loss to our local community and certainly the Fire District as a whole. So thank you for keeping his family in your thoughts and prayers at this difficult time for everyone right now. I also want to thank you for allowing us to present our 10 new hires to you this evening. We know and recognize with the tremendous amount of experience that they're bringing to us that our community is going to be in great hands. So looking forward to them onboarding and getting out in the field and providing a great service to our community. And then I'd also like to announce that due to 3 recent promotions, we've had the honor and privilege to promote 3 of our personnel to captain and 3 to engineers. And the captains are Travis Young, Arnie Clement, Travis Foster, and our engineers are Ethan Sanders, Justin Newber, and Matt Robinson. So we're super excited what they're going to bring to the district. And then lastly, you may have heard, felt, or even seen the large fire / explosion in the South Ontario earlier this afternoon. We had to send Medic Engine 67 to go help out to treat some of the wounded and to help suppress that fire. Sadly, 2 people have succumbed and lost their lives, and there were numerous injuries and many neighborhoods that were damaged as a result of the fire and the explosion that preceded that. So we want to take a moment to remind the public that illegal fireworks, which in this case preliminarily are the cause of this explosion and subsequent fire, are very dangerous, and we need to take them seriously. And if the public sees something, we ask you to say something and speak out. It's highly likely that some people in that neighborhood may have known what was going on at that house prior to the explosion and fire. And as a result, a lot of lives have been turned upside down. So please, our community members, if you see something, say something. So thanks so much. Have a good evening. Appreciate it.
You know, the interesting thing, I saw a news report on that, and a couple of the neighbors said that that particular home shot off fireworks often. But I don't know whether anybody didn't report it or whether there was no way to get on the property to see what was really there. But it had to have been a tremendous amount of fireworks.
Yeah. So happy to report that no first responders were injured as a result, but it was a tremendous incident. And so
So
we were
two
happy
people
to-
did pass, huh?
Unfortunately, so far, yes.
Wow. Were they must have been in the house, or was it in the house?
They
or
were on the property. Yep.
Just on the property? Oh, my gosh.
Yep. So
Terrible. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Okay, and with that, we will adjourn once again in memory of Alma Combs and Ray Santoro. Toyo, they will be really, really missed. They were both very, very great men. Our next regular meeting of the City Council will be held on Tuesday, April 6th at 7 o'clock unless we need closed session, and that will start at 7. Darn, I got that backwards. Regular council meeting at 7, closed session at 6 if necessary. With that, we are adjourned.